Welcome back to Live at 5. Andy Stadler joins us to talk about April 15th. It's coming up, tax day, a week from Thursday. So for all of you procrastinators out there like myself, what do we need to know about to avoid stress and frustration for tax day?
Well, don't wait till the last moment. Doing your
almost too late for that. But
yeah, you're doing your taxes on April 15th. At 10 p.m. is a little too late. Yeah. So start it up a little earlier. Actually, start today or real soon if you're already there. But just get going on it. It's really the biggest thing. If you wait till the very last day, you generally will overlook some deductions or credits or other things that you're entitled to that you're just kind of rushing through. You may not realize that you're entitled to those credits.
Okay, and you say even if you do wait, if it's going to be nice again this weekend and you put it off again till next week, still don't panic, especially if you can't pay right away.
That's correct. If you think you do owe, file an extension. The extension will give you an additional amount of time to actually send your paperwork to the IRS. But what you need to do with the extension is if you do think you owe, you do need to send some money in with that extension.
Okay.
The extension does not give you an additional amount of time to pay. It gives an additional amount of time to actually file the paperwork. So if you do owe, again, you need to send in a payment with that extension.
Okay, and how do people go about actually filling out that extension?
Well, they can come to our office, any of our 4 offices around town, and we will do the extension for you free of charge. What's needed is your name, your social security number, and your address. It's that simple to get the extension. Or you can, it's IRS form, it's called 4868, IRS form 4868. Simply fill it out and send it in, and it gives you an automatic 6 months extension. It's a fairly simple form to do.
Okay, so that's automatic 6 months until you have to pay?
Not till you have to pay. The due date itself, again, is April 15th.
Sure.
So if you think you owe, or you know you owe, you need to send a payment in with that extension. If you don't have any money, though, to pay, you need to at least file the extension for sure, and then you can set up a payment plan with the IRS.
Okay, because you're filing the extension basically because you know you owe something, so you're going to pay something and then you fill out.
That's correct.
The rest of your tax forms by the deadline.
That's correct.
And then pay the rest by then.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good to know. What are some of the penalties that you need to know about if you don't file in time?
Well, the failure to file, the penalty for not filing on time is 25% of the amount you owed. So if you owe $1,000, the penalty is automatically $250. If you don't pay on time, if you don't pay within 60 days, the due date within 60 days of April the 15th, then the penalty can be as much as 100% of the actual tax you owe. So there's some pretty big penalties and fines. April 15th is a very important date. You really need to try to work hard to get that tax return done. Now, if you do end up owing the IRS and you know you owe, your tax return is done, there's basically 3 different ways that you can pay that tax due. The first way is simply just make a payment to them with a check or money order. The second way, if you don't have the funds, is to try and perhaps go to a local lender, local bank to see about getting a loan. The third is you can pay by credit card. And the fourth, and this is really the last way you want to do it, is set up a payment plan at the IRS. The problem with that is the IRS will charge you interest and penalties daily until it's paid off, and those amount to about 25%. So it's really very high interest rate if you're looking at doing it that way.
So if you do fill out the extension the proper way in time, and then you pay once you finish filing down the road, is there any interest payments for that if you don't borrow directly from the IRS?
When you make that extension, if you know you owe and you went ahead and made the payment, as long as you paid at least 90% of the tax at that time, then there's no additional penalties or interest for filing late or not paying all the tax on time.
Okay. And the other thing people worry about, whether they're not looking for an extension, but also wondering if they're going to be audited, and it's more likely you might be audited this year.
There is. The IRS has actually hired over 2,000 new auditors. We've got several new ones here in town, and their audits have increased over 3,000%. With the budget, with the federal budget the way it is, Congress has directed the Internal Revenue Service to collect funds, and so they are really working hard to collect and auditing folks and looking at groups of people to make sure you are reporting all your income and you're reporting the proper amount of income.
And typically, when do they let you know that you're going to be audited, or when do you find out that you will have an audit?
Well, the process the IRS go through, it usually in the fall time of the year, usually like in September, October is usually when you get your letters. They mail out letters in September through maybe the spring time of the year, And they'll be for tax returns you're doing now. It'll be next year is when you get that notification.
Okay. And if you have any more questions for Andy, you can call his Terre Haute office at 478-2800, or the toll-free number is 800-447-2015. Stadler Tax Service has 4 locations, and for more on their services, go to mywabashvalley.com and click on the Valley Expert page. And we'll have more questions for you coming up next hour.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you then. Now here's Elise.
Up next on Live at 5, the teenager is involved in a bullying incident that led to the suicide of